Who dat to the Who Dat Nation? Welcome to the Dome Patrol podcast, your podcast for the New Orleans Saints here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and week 8 for the New Orleans Saints is in the books, and so is their season. The Saints have extended their losing streak to 6 in a row, 6 losses. Oh boy, you got to laugh to keep from crying. As the Saints fall to the Los Angeles Chargers this afternoon by the score of 26-8. And that score doesn't reflect, in my humble opinion, the butt whipping that the Saints got. Well, let's be honest. I'm going to be real. It wasn't a butt whipping because I still don't know what the Chargers did to kind of show their dominance per se, but it was more of a showcase of the Saints. It was a showcase of the Saints' ineptitude. To put a face on it, Dennis Allen. And, you know, to keep beating this drum, fire Dennis Allen, fire Dennis Allen, fire Dennis Allen. It's, number one, it's falling on deaf ears, at least to the ones that matter in the case of firing him. So it doesn't make sense. If they don't care, why should I? I don't care. I honestly, since the second quarter of this game, my emotion just went completely out the window. I stopped caring. And that was because they stopped caring by the decisions that were made by the Saints, by the style of play, the play calling, all of that. It was completely dumb. And I'm trying to edit my words. You know, I'm trying to keep this as PG as possible. And this is not out of anger. I'm not angry. It's more that I'm trying to speak from raw emotion here without going off of on a explicit latent tirade. But this is it. This is the end, man. I mean, if you on your job, on your respective job, performed like Dennis Allen performed, you will be reprimanded. Am I correct? If not, terminated off your job for not being able to do your job. He cannot do his job. Mainly, the number one thing that just did it for me, it was the start of the second half. Well, midway through the third quarter, I would say, when he benched Spencer Rattler. Now, I am a huge Spencer Rattler fan, and so part of this could be bias, but I just didn't like the way it was done. He replaced Spencer Rattler with Jake Hader, who I'm also a fan of. I like Jake Hader, but it's the way it was done. Pulling that move made it seem like the reason the Saints weren't doing anything offensively was because of Spencer Rattler. And nothing could be further from the truth. Did Spencer Rattler have a good game? Did he go out there and the team just let him down or whatnot? Not really. He didn't have a great game. He looked like a rookie today. He really did. He looked like a rookie. He wasn't bad. He wasn't horrible. He wasn't costing the Saints the game. That was the part that made me be like, wait, why are you taking him out? He's not the problem. He is truly not the problem. I'm looking at receivers dropping balls. I'm looking at the offensive line not protecting him. It was a variety of things. So it wasn't his fault. So okay, cool. You put in Jake Hader. Now, when you make a move like that bold in a game that wasn't out of reach, at that point, it was only a 2-possession game in the third quarter. So you had plenty of time. It's not like the game was getting out of control. It wasn't at that point. If you make a move like that by benching your quarterback, Jake Hader had to come in there and win the game. He had to come in there and outperform Spencer Rattler. He didn't do that. He looked just as bad. He looked just as bad, which makes you wonder, is it the quarterback room just that bad, or is it the play calling? You know, in the past 8 weeks, or I say the past 6 weeks during this losing streak, because the first 2 weeks of the season, we were lifting up Clint Kubiak as baby Jesus. We thought he was the second coming, man. I mean, oh man, yeah, they should fire Dennis Allen and make Clint Kubiak the coach and all this other good stuff. Now all of a sudden, now it's all Dennis Allen, which is right to be critical of him. But you know who's been getting a pass? Clint Kubiak. Well, he's not getting a pass today. Clint Kubiak can't call a game. He cannot call games. Now, I'm pretty sure I probably mentioned it in the past, but I really didn't harp on it so much because of my anger towards Dennis Allen. Well, today, we're going to spread it around. We're going to give everybody their propers. Clint Kubiak, he ain't it. Clint Kubiak cannot call a game. Point blank, period. There's really nothing else to dive into. This is ridiculous, man. They didn't even try to go down the field. They didn't even try to move the ball down the field. They didn't take deep shots till later in the game. Now, just because Shadeed is out, that deep threat is out, you didn't have nothing else offensively to try to spread this defense out, to try to take the top off the defense. I mean, Chris Olave can get up the field. He proved that in this game. We saw him get up the field and get behind the defense a few times. And so I don't understand the game plan. Now, early on in the game, they had Taysom Hill in the game. Oh, he was firing on all cylinders then, boy. That call sheet was looking like the Ten Commandment tablets, boy. He was calling plays after plays with Taysom Hill. But once that got taken out of the equation, he was lost. Didn't know what to do. Well, I can't take it no more. This dude, he ain't it. He ain't it. Dennis Allen, he ain't it. I always knew he wasn't it, but my God, what more you need to see? What more do you need to witness on a Sunday to say that this dude cannot coach the conservative play calling? Oh, well, okay, we're in field goal range. We don't want to mess it up. Oh, let's just run the ball. Let's take a shot. If it's there, take it. If not, just throw it out of it. Man, get aggressive. Get aggressive. You're on the road, man. You got to realize Saints going into this game were 2-6. 2-5. They're 2-6 now. They were 2-5. They're behind the 8 ball. You needed to play like a desperate team, and you didn't. They played like they were 5-2. Like okay, if we win, we win. We don't, we don't. That's how they played. That was the attitude. That was the vibe that they were radiating. No, man, you needed to play like your hair was on fire today. Didn't happen. It didn't happen. And this is coming off of a mini bye. Y'all haven't played in 10 days. 10 days. You want to know when the last time the Los Angeles Chargers played? Late Monday night. They had the shortest of weeks. You had 10 days, and I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell. It was unbelievable. Unbelievable. They need to be fired, man. Well, the Los Angeles Chargers, their defense, which is a top 10 defense, they pretty much smothered the Saints offense. They did. It was going to be an uphill battle anyway, but regardless, they came out victorious, 26-8. It was the Saints' 6th consecutive loss after they started 2-0, and it is the first time New Orleans has lost 6 consecutive games since 2005. The Chargers improved to 4-3. New Orleans just managed 2 Blake Grupe field goals. He missed a 44-yard field goal in the fourth quarter, and they managed to get a safety on a botched punt attempt, which I don't give it to the Saints there. That was just a stupid play by the Chargers there. They jumped up 2-0, and that was the only lead that they had. And Dennis Allen replaced Spencer Rattler with Jake Hader in the second half in an attempt to get the offense going. Hader, he only led a field goal drive. He couldn't rally the team to a victory. So that was a bust. Hader was 9 for 17, 122 yards, while Rattler was 12 of 24 for 156 yards. Explain to me. You tell me what sense that made. It was the third consecutive game that the Saints did not have their starting quarterback Derek Carr, and you can pretty much put your money. Derek Carr will be back next week against Carolina. He'll be back next week. But the Saints offense didn't score a touchdown despite the return of Taysom Hill, the return of Chris Olave. You had Cesar Ruiz back. You had Lucas Patrick back. Didn't matter. New Orleans' first points came off of a safety caused by a bad punt exchange. Alvin Kamara, he had a solid game. Alvin Kamara looked really good. I guess signing that extension this week jolted some life in him because he was a beast. He had 10 carries for 67 yards. He had 6 catches for 55 yards. Chris Olave, coming off of that concussion a couple of weeks ago, he had 8 catches for 107 yards, but neither could get into the end zone. The Saints defense played its best game in weeks, and that's saying a lot. They sacked Justin Herbert, the quarterback for the Chargers, 3 times today. And they just got worn down at the end, to put it plainly, giving up 10 points in the fourth quarter. But even with those 10 points, or without those 10 points, Saints would have lost. And so take that for what it is. Marshawn Lattimore and Kendre Miller, they left the games in the second half, both with, you guessed it, hamstring injuries. Rico Payton, he also left with a back injury in the second half, but Means left the game late. Boy, it was just horrible, man. This just ain't the season. It just point blank period. This ain't the year. I think what makes it frustrating, we saw the first 2 games of the season and we thought that, boy, the Saints were about to just run through the NFL. They about to destroy people in the NFL. And we got a taste of that and drunk the Kool-Aid. And now our teeth are riding out. We put too much sugar in the Kool-Aid. Now our teeth is rotting. We got diabetes. And we got to take that insulin shot every morning. And so it is bad, man. This is about as low as you can get in the past few years. I didn't think we would ever go back to this, but we're back to this. I even saw somebody with a bag over their head in SoFi Stadium. So, yep, the bags are back as well. Let's go over the stats of this game if you wanna. I mean, it ain't much to talk about in this game. It really was a trash game. Chargers did nothing. Chargers looked just as bad as the Saints, but the Chargers, they took shots. And when they took their shots, it worked. You know, I think they went down the field, 3 times, and it paid off. But aside from that, they didn't do anything spectacular, I would say. But, I mean, all credit to them. They won. They went out there. They won. They made the plays they needed to play. So congratulations to them. That's all I can say. But let's go over the stats of this game, starting with our passing leaders. Spencer Rattler, mentioned before, he was 12 of 24, 156 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. He was sacked 3 times today. Jake Hader, he was 9 for 17, 122 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. He was sacked twice today. Taysom Hill, he was 1 of 1 for 3 yards, though. For the Chargers, it was Justin Herbert with 20 completions off of 32 pass attempts, 279 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He was sacked 3 times today. Leading rusher, starting with the New Orleans Saints, Alvin Kamara, 10 carries for 67 yards. Taysom Hill, he had 4 carries for 20 yards. Kendre Miller, 3 carries for 16 yards. Jake Hader, 2 carries for 10 yards. And Jamal Williams, 2 carries for 4 yards. For the Chargers, J.K. Dobbins, 17 carries for 57 yards and a touchdown. Justin Herbert, 4 carries for 49 yards. A lot of that was on that one 40-yard run, or was it 38 yards to be exact? 38-yard run that he had in the first half, which was ridiculous. Receiving, our leading receiver was Chris Olave, 8 catches for 107 yards. Alvin Kamara was next with 6 catches for 55 yards. Leading receiver for the LA Chargers was Lad McCourty. He had 6 catches for 111 yards and 2 touchdowns. Yeah, he had a day. And he looks like a boy. He looks like a little kid. I was like, man, that's embarrassing for him to just eat up your defense like that. Defensively, our leading tackle today was Pete Warner with 9 tackles. For the Chargers, it was Huntley with 11 tackles today. Going over the team statistics, starting with first down, Saints had 15 first downs today to the Chargers 19. Third down efficiency, Saints, this is embarrassing. Saints were 2 for 16 on third down. You're not winning squat. 2 for 16? I didn't even realize it was that bad. The Chargers weren't too much better. They were 3 for 12, but my God. Saints were 100% on fourth down conversions, though. They were 1 of 1. Chargers, they were 0 for 1. Total plays, Saints ran 68 total plays to the Chargers 64. Total yardage, Saints had 366 total yards to the Chargers 378. Both teams had 13 drives apiece. Yards per play, Saints 5.4 to the Chargers 5.9. Passing yardage, Saints 249 to the Chargers 256. Rushing, Saints had 117 rushing yards to the Chargers 122. Red zone, Saints were 0 for 1 in the red zone. Chargers were 2 for 3. Penalties, Saints had 7 penalties for 66 yards to the Chargers 4 penalties for 34 yards. Turnovers today, this was a clean game. No turnovers, which was shocking. Should have been 1. It should have been 1. Rattler should have got 1, but the refs said that the ball hit the ground. I was kind of iffy on that, but hey, whatever. They even went to replay and it still said it wasn't, but I don't know. Maybe I don't know what I'm looking at, but it's fine. It didn't matter anyway. But time of possession, Saints once again loses the time of possession. They had the ball for 28 minutes and 52 seconds to the Chargers 31 minutes and 8 seconds. Now, as I stated before, you look at these statistics and they're virtually even. Yardage, plays, yards per play, everything. That's why I say the Chargers did nothing today. The Saints did nothing today. This was just a nothing game with 2 nothing teams. And you look at the score and you're like, oh man, Chargers, boy, they put foot into behind. Nah, not really. Not really. Saints are just, they're self-destructing. They are self-destructing in front of our eyes, and it's sad to watch. It is so sad to watch. Saints will take on the Carolina Panthers next week, and I could care less what happens in that game. We saw earlier that the Atlanta Falcons beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Atlanta Falcons are the sole number 1 team in the South right now. Atlanta is 5-3. Tampa is 4-4. Saints are 2-6, and Carolina is 1-7, of course. And so it's pretty much out of reach for the New Orleans Saints, sadly. Yeah, it's not looking good for the squad. But let's go through our grades. As you know, if you listen every week, after every Saints game, I grade every unit of the team: offense, defense, special teams, and coaching. Round it all up and come up with an overall grade for the New Orleans Saints performance against the LA Chargers. Beginning with offense. Offense gets a D minus. D minus. This was, I don't know. It was like pulling teeth watching this offense today. I mean, couldn't get nothing going. Even when we had great field position, we couldn't move the ball to save our life. And it was embarrassing to watch. It was embarrassing that this offense couldn't get nothing going. Don't want to hear about injuries. That's over. That excuse is done with me. I don't want to hear that. You know why I don't want to hear that? I was saving this to the end, but it keep popping up in my head. You look at Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns, who were 1-6 at the beginning of today when the sun rose this morning. The Cleveland Browns were 1-6. They had to face the Baltimore Ravens, their division rival, one of the best teams in the league. I think Baltimore were 5-2 or something like that. Cleveland lost their starting quarterback, who obviously weren't doing nothing for him, in Deshaun Watson. In comes in a name and a man that we know well, Jameis Winston. He starts. He takes this team and beats the Baltimore Ravens today. With injuries, a team that got nothing to play for, to be honest with you. But they went out there and played the game. No excuses, no nothing. They beat them. Man, I watched that game. It came on at 12. I was watching that game before the Saints game came on. They beat them. That score doesn't reflect what the Cleveland Browns did to the Ravens. They had effort. They went out there with heart and played. This team, the New Orleans Saints, none of that. None of that. And I don't care about the injuries. There's no excuse to me. It wasn't like, oh, we're injured, so that player, that position is vacant. There's a hole in the line now. No, you got other players there. Yeah, they may not be up to quality as the injured player, but you have players. Do something with them. A good coach will recognize what each player is good at and try to use that to your benefit. And this team doesn't do it. That being said, yeah, offense gets a D minus. Defense gets a D plus. Defense, it was good to see them get pressure today. It was good to see them get sacks today. It wasn't good to see a quarterback sprint out for 40 yards on you. It wasn't good to see safeties out of position on those big plays. What's the guy name? Ladd McCourty. Yeah, it wasn't good to see that. And so, yeah, it's a D plus. This pass rush that we have is completely, it's a waste of money. Chase Young is a waste of money. He's stealing money. That was a wasted addition to this team. He's done nothing. And this is me saying that, and he got a sack today. I really don't care. He's a waste to me. Nobody that big should get bullied like that every single game. He went up against a rookie a couple of weeks ago and got punked by a rookie. Yeah, that dude, that's a waste. And, you know, the only way we can get pressure is by blitzing, which exposes your back end. And I don't know. It's just, we're in bad shape overall as a team. This is a bad situation that the New Orleans Saints are in. Defense gets a D plus. Special teams gets a C minus. Special teams, Blake Grupe, once again, missed another field goal. Would it have made a difference on the outcome? Probably not. But you missed it again. And this was a chip shot in the grand scheme of it all. Yeah, I'm tired of that. Tired of these returners pulling a gambit from Deadpool and Wolverine. Oh, I'm gonna make a name for myself out here. No, take a knee. make a fair catch, stop bringing the ball out of the end zone, putting the offense in bad field position situations. Man, you're not going to run the ball back. It's not going to happen. You're not going to make a name for yourself that way. Stop it. Just stop. Yeah, special teams gets a C minus. Coaching gets an F. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. Coaching gets an F for not having a team prepared, for not making rational decisions. That decision to take out Spencer Rattler. And the point I wanted to make earlier when I brought that up, it wasn't because I was mad he took out Spencer Rattler. That wasn't the case. That's just a stupid decision because he wasn't playing bad. That goes for anybody. I done seen Derek Carr look worse, and you stuck with him. Matter of fact, I'm sorry. Let's go back, way back in time, people. 2 years ago, you remember this? It was a Thursday night game. The New Orleans Saints were playing the Arizona Cardinals. You had the Red Rifle, Andy Dalton, starting the game. Andy Dalton threw not one, not two, 3 pick six interceptions in the first half. They asked him at halftime, him being Dennis Allen, oh, what did you tell him? Oh, just keep doing what you're doing. Huh? But you kept him in the game. But this young rookie, this guy who's trying to make something out of nothing out there, you pulled him. That wrecks. You know what that does to the psyche of a player, to a young player? You pretty much told him, oh, you're the reason we're losing. You ruined this kid. You ruined him. You pretty much made him a loser just like you are. They get an F. Coaching staff overall. Clint Kubiak, horrible. It needs to be called out. If nobody else going to call it out, I'm going to call it out. Horrible. Yeah, F. Overall, Saints gets a D minus today. It should have been an F, but my God, man, this is horrible, man. And why on God's green earth have I not gotten an alert on my phone as I'm sitting here that Dennis Allen has been fired? What more do you need to see, Mickey Loom? This makes no sense. Don't wait to the end of the year. Do it now. Do it now. Let's just try to savage what we can savage. Because we're not going nowhere. The season's done. There is no coming back. The Saints will have to, hear me out, win out in order to have a chance at a playoff berth. Win out. That means lose no more games. And you're asking a coach who has never won no more than 2 games in a row in his entire career to win the last 10 games of this season. Miss me with all of that. It's not going to happen. But yeah, that's pretty much the that's the reaction to this. I really have nothing else left to say about this. I'm so checked out it ain't funny, and I apologize to all the listeners for being in this state of mind. But it's not my fault. It's really the Saints. The Saints brought me here. They put me in this position. Now, I'm not going to stop doing the show. I'm still going to preview the shows. I mean, the games, still going to be here next weekend to preview the Panther game. And I'm going to be here after the Panther game to recap and react. But, man, my emotions are pretty much gone at this point. I really have no emotions. That may change tomorrow, may change by Wednesday, Thursday, who knows. But as it stands right now, I could care less what happened with this team because the organization has shown they don't care either. But who knows? Crazier things have happened in football. Maybe the Saints do turn it around. Maybe Dennis Allen makes me out to be a liar. I will welcome that challenge, sir. But I would love to know, what do you think about the Saints so far this season, going forward this season, and of this game? What are you out? Are you checked out? And maybe you are more committed than me, checking out by just not watching the game, not going to the games, not listening to none of the games. You just done. And I feel you. I understand. I'm not mad at you. I've noticed my numbers then dropped since in the last couple of weeks dealing with the Saints with this show. And I'm not even mad. I understand. I don't I, I don't know why I'm keep doing it. It was at a point during the game that I was ready to change the channel. I picked up the remote, but I said, I got to do the show. That's why. That's the only reason I watched that game till the end. But I want to know your thoughts, your feelings, your concerns, your what do you think we should do? Do we think we should fire Dennis Allen now? And I'm not asking you on the emotional tip because everybody's gonna say, yeah, fire him, get rid of him. But think about it logically. What do you think is smarter to cut ties with him now or just play out the rest of the season? I say now. It doesn't make sense. Start the process now to find a coach. Start it now. And that way, when the season ends, you ready, you prepared, you got everything, you know what's coming. Other than getting a bidding war with other teams who's going to probably let go of their coaches. And we're fighting to get a little time with the hot coach, that's vacant. So I say start it now. But like I said, what's your thoughts? Email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also search for this show on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Also, subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel on YouTube and like this video if you don't mind. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the Dome Patrol Podcast, your podcast for the New Orleans Saints here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me reluctantly as I recapped and reacted to the Saints' 6 loss in a row. Week 8 against the Los Angeles Chargers by the score of 26-8. Oh, boy. Saints, boy. I'm gonna shut up. Let me leave it alone. Anyways, I will be back later on this week as we preview the matchup between the Carolina Panthers, our second meeting with this team. If you remember all the way back, it seems so long ago, doesn't it? All the way back in week 1 when we just opened a can on the Carolina Panthers. And will we do it again? Will we bounce back again? Find that same formula again against them? Nope, I don't think so, but we will see. But until then, even though my heart is heavy, my eyes are watery, I'm still gonna be screaming, who dat?